The American Ornithological Society has decided that birds are racist. But come on, we always kind of knew. This is Exasperated Nerd Explains. The AOS has decided to change the names of 70 to 80 common bird names because some of them were either discovered by people who held racist views, owned slaves, or were named in honor of people who held racist views or owned slaves, even if they are figures of historical or ornithological significance. Or at least, that's the impression you receive if you just read the headlines coming out. In reality, it's much worse. They are changing the names of all birds named after anyone, even the founding fathers of the United States. The statement released by the society reveals why, and it's because everyone in the past was racist, apparently. To quote directly from the AOS, for example, white settler culture regularly honors historical figures such as Washington, Jefferson, and Lincoln. Yet, for many members of our society, these people bring painful memories or even revulsion. That's pretty harsh wording for someone who claims they don't want to be the morality police like a sentence later. They give other reasoning behind changing all the names, but they are all pretty silly. Naming them after people is not very descriptive. Regardless that basically for all time, the person who discovers the species gets naming rights. They said that when they looked at the names, they noticed hardly any named after women, and that they are almost exclusively named after white men.
This is the morality police. Stop naming things after yourselves.
They also said that native peoples had their own names for these birds before the settlers came around, so it is not a big deal to change them now. And my personal favorite, having a bird named after someone implies ownership of the species? What? I've never once thought that a species named after someone is that person's property. Oh, that's a Cooper hawk. All of those are owned by that Cooper guy.
That's Cooper!
It's like that Mitch Hedberg joke about Reese's peanut butter cups. That's an apostrophe S on there, so they're all owned by Reese. Anyone who thinks that the name implies ownership is an idiot. But why stop at just changing the name? There is plenty of literature out there with these revolting, racist names, so I think we need to get together and do a little book burning. Burn all those bird books, then the AOS can sell us new versions with more appropriate names. Also, let's be honest, those birds are forever tainted by these racist names, and the hurt is just too deep. So we should just kill all these species off while we're at it. Throw them on the book burning pile. After all, conservation is important, but is it really more important than feelings? Obviously not. It may be a bit hard at the start, certainly, but once they are all dead, there won't be any birders being harmed by seeing a bird that used to be named after a racist, or even just named after a guy who was maybe super great, but also, white. But that's not far enough either. You see, they're not changing the names of birds named after places that are named after people. So if you are a racist and had a city named after you, and then a bird is discovered there, naming it after the city named after the racist is fair game and not offensive, apparently, somehow. Also, these are just the common names being changed, as the AOS has no authority over scientific names, which is governed by an international body. So by going along with these standards, you could say the AOS is actually supporting racism as long as it's in Latin. But still, that is not far enough. After all, the president of the society said, "There is power in a name, and some English bird names have associations with the past that continue to be exclusionary and harmful today." And yet, somehow they mention the red-breasted nuthatch as a good bird name. I'm sorry, red? Haven't you heard of the colorblind? How can you include a descriptor that is so exclusionary and harmful? Also, red-breasted? Or how about the blue-footed booby? These names are wholly inappropriate and sexualize these birds, oppressing all female bird watchers. How can you not rename these sexualized and exclusionary birds? I'm beginning to think the AOS doesn't have the best interests of the birding community in mind at all, since they are supporting such offensive names. I say we boycott the AOS and form a rival organization. After all, they are mired by a racist past themselves, which can never be washed clean, and admit that their authority over bird naming is just the fact that they have maintained a list that people use. There is no actual legitimacy behind their tyranny, exclusionary practices, and racism. That's why I'm proud to announce the formation of the Society of Birds, because at SOB, at least we aren't those other racist SOBs. That's all for today. Please consider liking the video, sharing it with others, and subscribing to the channel for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye.